This is Sebastian. He's a dedicated member of the local gym, despite the fact that he never goes. He's a Lib Dem volunteer. This is Zoe. She's a history teacher, but is always forgetting the important dates, like her anniversary. She's a Lib Dem volunteer. This is Samuel. He can read 3 ancient languages, but would not say what they are. He is a Lib Dem volunteer. This is Agnes. She's a social media tweeter, but is scared of birds, especially ducks. She is a Lib Dem volunteer. This is Louis. He's a banker, a phone banker. His hair defies gravity. He is a Lib Dem volunteer. And together, they are part of Team 2015, a group of normal people like you who volunteer to make a difference in the Lib Dem 2015 general election campaign. This is Nick. He's the Deputy Prime Minister. His favourite biscuit is a rich tea when dunked and hobnobs when not dunked. He's a little bit more full-time of the Lib Dems and really appreciates enthusiastic and hard-working volunteers such as yourselves. So thank you for being part of Team 2015!
Wow, I never ever thought I would come on to stage to Mustang Sally. When I was 11, that song came out, and for me, rather than cars, it conjured up images of majestic, powerful horses whirling in a circle of dust. But in reality, as Ian Fleming said, horses are dangerous at both ends and uncomfortable in the middle. And isn't that a description of politics at the moment? On the one end, we have Labour, who will borrow too much, and on the other, the Conservatives, who will cut too much. And yes, being in the middle is sometimes rather uncomfortable. But imagine how uncomfortable things would be for Britain if we weren't there. They said coalition would never work. They said there'll be another election in 6 months. They said the public will be confused. They were wrong. You have only to look at what we have achieved over the last 5 years, delivering key Lib Dem policies such as the pupil premium and increasing the personal tax allowance, taking 3 million of the lowest paid workers out of paying income tax altogether, and helping 26 million low earners through the worst years of this recession. But I think our greatest achievement has been to provide the framework to deliver a strong economy, to bring us back from the brink of the economic disaster that was left by Labour, whilst also helping the most vulnerable in our country. And yes, it has been tough, but I hope we can be proud of what we have achieved. I know I am. And what a time to take over as president from the wonderful Tim Farron. And I want to thank you all for your warm welcome over the last 2 months, coming out on the campaign trail with you round the country. Come rain, come shine, it's what we're all about. And I've also loved joining our fantastic volunteers in Team 2015 too, weekly in London HQ and helping to launch the Manchester team at ALDC's offices. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Team 2015 in action, they are amazing, bringing a whole new element of technology and enthusiasm to support our pavement politics. These are supporters who want to help because they believe in what we stand for, popping in after their day job and helping our local parties across the country. Their energetic enthusiasm is just infectious, and you can try it out for yourself here at conference. They've set up a phone bank here in the exhibition hall, and I'm going to challenge everyone here to make 10 calls with them this weekend. Go on, spare half an hour to join them, and I guarantee you will leave with a smile on your face. Now, as many of you will know, a few weeks ago we lost Philip Vince, one of our most dedicated campaigners. He joined the Liberal Party in 1949, a member for 66 years. Now, I knew Philip as a stalwart of our London team, meeting him for the first time in the 1970s. He campaigned tirelessly. And he stuck with us through thick and thin because he knew no other party stands by our fundamental values of liberty, equality and community, in which no one will be enslaved by poverty, ignorance or conformity. And Philip knew the importance of inspiring the next generation. He would be delighted to see so many young people here at conference excited by this campaign. One of our newest recruits is a student called Will. He was out in my home patch in Watford, and on the very first door that he knocked on, even before Will had finished asking the question, the man proclaimed he would be voting for Dorothy Hill. Will, I hope every door you knock on gets the same response. Conference. Alongside our amazing leaders, Nick Clegg, Willie Rennie and Kirsty Williams, we have a really important job to do over the next 5 weeks. And as Philip Vince would have wanted, we have to pass on our infectious passion for liberalism, a fairer society, and remind people why the country is stronger for Liberal Democrats being in government. And as Will found out, many people really want to hear from us. Thank you.
The leader of the Welsh Liberal Democrats, Kirsty Williams.
Done it right that way, but we're fine. We're back on there.
Well, I think the opening line of that number was, "She's a winner," and I certainly intend to be that in Wales this year. Friends, what a journey we've been on these last 5 years. Let's be honest, we didn't enter office in the most ideal of circumstances. An economy on the brink. People's livelihoods taken away. Homes repossessed. But things are changing. Employment rates at record highs, interest rates at record lows, and our economy is growing stronger and stronger by the day. But there's more. The last 5 years could just have been a relentless focus on the economy and nothing else. But it wasn't. Can you remember the days when it was only leaflets we could deliver? Not anymore. Not anymore. Raising the tax threshold, equal marriage, fear the devolution, support for childcare, shared parental leave, transforming pensions. These are Liberal policies that we have put into action. Over the last 5 years, we've been the good news story, the positive story, the shining light that has come out of this coalition government. And each and every one of you has played your part in making Britain fairer. And that is the record that we'll take into this election. Now, whenever I come to a federal conference, I feel it's my duty to report back on what is happening in Wales. We're the only part of the UK that Labour still controls. And they have left us with an education system that continues to drop down international league tables. An economy that lags behind the rest of the UK, and the NHS, well, I'm sure you've all heard about our National Health Service. Despite the hard work and dedication of the NHS staff, 15 years of labour means that whether you're waiting for an ambulance, an operation, or in an A&E department, you will wait longer because you're in Wales. And here lies Ed Miliband's primary problem in this election. He has spoken about his desire to weaponise the NHS. Charming phrase, Mr. Miliband, charming. But there is a Welsh Labour government-shaped hole in Miliband's plans. Like the deficit, Welsh Labour's record is an inconvenient truth that Ed Miliband would rather forget about. But we won't let him. And nor, it seems, will the Prime Minister. Week in and week out at Prime Minister's questions, he talks about the Welsh NHS. It's funny. I never realised he cared so much. Except, of course, he doesn't care. His rhetoric shows that the Tory party remains the same old nasty party they always were. For them, it's politics first, not patience. Any facade that he cares was wiped out the moment that he said that Offa's Dyke was the line between life and death. What an appalling thing to say. Using such language showed that he couldn't care less about Welsh patients or the staff of the NHS in Wales. You know, that's not how a true leader operates. Contrast that with Nick Clegg, who has said that our party won't cast England against Wales, nation against nation, neighbour against neighbour. You know, everyone has the right to hold up Labour's dire record in Wales, but we do so because we want what is best for people, not to divide people. We've got no interest in the Tory-Labour war where they use patients and staff as collateral damage. No, our war is on poor public services. We want an opportunity for everyone, no matter who they are or where in the United Kingdom they come from. And we will fight and keep on fighting to end the appalling practice of 15-minute care calls. We'll fight for more nurses on our wards, and we'll fight on behalf of people suffering from poor mental health who've been ignored and marginalised for too long. Now, I don't know about you, conference, but I think, though, that is a fight worth having. So this general election will be our chance to show that coalitions are not a one-off. People have seen that their choice now isn't just between only red or only blue, between too much borrowing or too much cutting, a weak economy or a divided society. No, this will be different. There is every chance that there will be another hung parliament after this election. And there is every chance that once again, that we Liberal Democrats will have a chance to deliver our policies. Plaid and the Greens combined, well, they'll have no more than a handful of MPs. They remain irrelevant and powerless, as they ever were. And UKIP's toxic brand of divisive politics isn't the answer. And the SNP, well, they're not much better. They'd grasp the levers of power of a country that they would then seek to destroy. That's not what people need. We are the only viable option, and we have shown that we can do it. We've strengthened our economy, and we've done it fairly. And that's our message for this election, and one that we'll take onto the doorsteps. You know, the media won't do it for us. They will use all their power to ensure that we won't win the battle of the airwaves. That side of things, it's not in our control, it's not in our hands, but we're used to that. What is in our hands is what we do on the ground. And that is a battle we can win and a battle we will win. You know, we may now be a party of government, but we're the same local champions that we always were. across the United Kingdom. We have Liberal Democrat activists, councillors, MPs, AMs, MSPs, all delivering for their communities. We won't take people for granted, never have, and we never will. We got to where we are today by sheer hard work, tenacity, and determination, and by campaigning day in and day out, speaking to people, listening to people, and spreading our message. And that is what we will do from now until the election. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage Paddy Ashdown.
I promise you, I asked them to ham it up because I knew you wouldn't take it seriously. So you know what this is? You, hands up who knows what this is. It means I've done my 10. And by the way, hang on, I got tough news. Sal said you had to do 10 while you're in conference. Not good enough. You've got to do 10 every day. And you'll have 3 of these by the end. And I'll be coming around. I am, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, a fellow Lib Dems, an expert in cruel and unusual punishments. So you better do your 10. Well now, conference, while we're here warm and dry in this hall, cozy and safe in Liverpool, you might spare a thought for our campaigning colleagues out on the streets and knocking on the doors across Britain this windy, rainy night. Well, here's the good news. By the magic of modern technology, and specially, of course, for you, we can speak to them tonight. First, from one of my old stamping grounds of Pooh. Here is Vicky Slade, who is going to build on the amazing work of Annette Brooke and become the next Liberal Democrat MP for Mid Dorset. Vicky, how's it going? No, she's there. No.
Can you see me?
We can
Hello,
see you,
Paddy.
Vicky, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We've got you.
Hey, lovely to speak to you. Sorry I'm not there with you. Hi everybody.
Hi.
Hi. I've got a great team behind me here, working hard this evening.
Vicky's working hard, but obviously the sound system isn't. Can you hear us, Vicky?
I can hear you, Paddy.
Well, we can hear you sort of coming in and out, a bit like the Tories, really.
Yeah, they're a bit wishy-washy.
So, Vicky, she's of course been following on the incredible Annette Brooks. Vicky, how's it like working with Annette?
It's been amazing working with Annette. She's with me most days. Whenever she's down from London, she's out on the streets, taking me to events, making sure that our profile's being raised. And I'm confident that between the two of us, and with the help of people from all over the country coming down in the last few weeks, we're going to hang on to this seat and return another Lib Dem female for Dorset.
Great stuff. Good luck, Vicky.
Thank you. Say bye, everyone.
Good luck. Bye-bye, guys. Good luck. We're with you. We will be soon.
Thanks, Vicky. Now, let's head to a seat that I am confident that we're going to win back at this election. Let's head over to Montgomeryshire. Jane Dodds is running a superb campaign. Jane, noswaith dda, ti'n iawn?
Ydw, diolch. Noswaith dda chi gyd yn Lerpwl. Neis cael siarad â chi. Good evening, everybody in Liverpool.
It's great to see you, Jane. Tell us, how are things going in Mont?
Well, they're going very well. We're out on the streets and in those towns and villages and meeting the farmers at places like the sheep market. We have the largest sheep market here in Montgomeryshire in Europe, would you believe it? So we've got a lot of people, sheep that we can rely on, but we're talking to a lot of those voters too.
Jane, the Tories think that they will have an easy ride in that seat, but you're not going to let them have that easy ride, are you?
Oh, well, of course not. The Conservatives have just been loaned the seat. We're going to bring this iconic Liberal seat back to where it belongs. Montgomeryshire belongs with the Liberal Democrats, and that's what we're going to be doing on Monday.
Diolch yn fawr, Jane. Hwyl fawr a hwyl lwc I ti.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Lerpwl.
Best of luck, Jane. Okay, guys, and now to just next door to where I was last night at a fundraiser when I was in Cheadle. And when I was there, I met not only, of course, the great team in Cheadle, but also our campaigners and our stellar candidate, Lisa Smart. Lisa, you're up against the Tories in Hazel Grove. How are we fighting back against their big checkbooks? I was going to say something else.
Well, you're right, Paddy. They have bottomless pits of pockets, and they are piling money into Hazel Grove. They've got so much money that they're spending postage, sending out weekly direct mail. That's postage on weekly direct mail. We've got a really strong record in Hazel Grove. Andrew Stunnell is an extremely popular local MP. And we are fighting them on the streets. We are knocking on more doors than ever before. We are speaking to more voters than ever before. And we hope to return a Liberal Democrat MP in May.
And what are they telling you, Lisa? What are they telling you when you knock on the doors, Lisa?
We're talking to people about our record locally and nationally. We're really proud of our record, and we should be. We're talking to people about how I've got the experience to do the job. I mentioned how popular Andrew is, so we're talking to people about how Andrew's supporting me and how he's campaigning extremely hard to get me elected as his successor. And we're also mentioning that it's a two-horse race and only I can beat the Tories here.
Great stuff. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa, and the very best of luck. And last but not least, let's head north of the border. And we are joined now from Gordon by Christine Jardine, who is hoping to step into the shoes of Malcolm Bruce, of course. But first, she has to beat the big fish of Scottish politics. Christine, how's it going?
It's going well, thanks, Kirsty. You know, Alex Salmond might think he's the big fish in our political pond, but at the moment, sightings of him are about as scarce here in Gordon as they are of a certain monster in Loch Ness. We're told that he's been spotted further south in Edinburgh, but we're waiting until the photographers have actually verified the photographs as real before we get too excited about that. So in the meantime, we're just getting out, spreading our message about having cut taxes and raised pensions and created jobs, and reminding people that locally, we're the party that's delivered for them for more than 3 decades, that's protected their health service, that's protected our local economy, and that I'll be an MP, same as Malcolm, with a strong, determined voice for this area. And partly because of Alex Salmond, the buzz around the campaign is terrific. We've had offers of support from all erts and perts, which roughly translated for our southern folks is all types of people from all sorts of places. We've had the Scottish composer James Cameron tweeting his offer to come up and support us. We had Ollie Grenda last weekend, and I'm told we've got half the cabinet and certain Mr. Ashdown coming up next week for our party conference. So there is a tremendous buzz, and it's partly because we know this general election is important, but this seat is particularly important. We want to protect Malcolm's legacy, but more than that, because of Alex Salmond, the eyes of Scotland, the rest of the UK, and much further afield are focused on us. And when they look, we want them to see that we are out there working for the people of Gordon on the issues that matter, and that we are determined to win. And every day more and more people are inspired to come and join us to make sure that we do that, not for me and not for the party, but because they don't want Gordon to become just another platform for Alex Salmond and the SNP, and people who, let's face it, they don't want to serve the UK, they want to break it up.
And Christine, I hear Alex Salmond has been quite the fundraiser.
He has, it's terrific. He's our best fundraiser and our best recruitment sergeant. At 7:30 on the morning that he announced he was standing for Parliament, I got a phone call with our very first donation from a liberal Democrat in Orkney. Sorry, Alistair, but you know that was where it started, and it's been coming in almost every day since then. A couple of weeks ago, we were out in the doors, and a guy came bounding out into his garden and said, "I want a word with you." And I thought, "Oh no, here it comes," you know, the abuse. But he offered his hand instead and said, "You know, I'm a member of the Labour Party, but I'll be voting for you this time." And then we were getting over the shock of that, and a car pulled up, and it was a Conservative waving a leaflet at us, who said, "I'm a lifelong Conservative, but I'll be voting for you this time." And the reason is Alex Salmond. So I may have to send him a thank you note.
Well, thanks, Christine, and to all four of you. You know, conference, these are the perfect examples, and there are many others we could bring to your screen, of the people we want to send to Parliament in May. And I am sure with your help and your campaigning, we'll see all of them, and hopefully more, on the green benches in May. And now, let's give a big round of applause and wish farewell, because she's back to Wales, to our wonderful leader in Wales, Kirsty Williams. See you around. T.S. Eliot begins the greatest poem of the 20th century. Don't you just love this party? I mean, in no other party in Britain could you dare to begin a speech like that. Anyway, he begins it. It is the four quartets, of course, with the line, "April is the cruelest month." And don't we Lib Dems just know it? For others, April means blossom and Easter eggs and young minds lightly turning to thoughts of love, lucky buggers. For us, we all know it's going to be about door knocking, deliverers, posters, postal votes, getting out the vote on polling day. And let me warn you that if you are from one of those seats that is not a target, or one of those councils that is not a target, well, you had better, as we say in the West Country, you better get the arse down there and make sure they pitch in to help. I bet you we get that in the newspapers tomorrow. By the way, I just want to make sure that this parrot is very much alive, fighting. Campaign parrot. And there is one left at Lib Dem Image, and the cost is £5.25, because this one's going to be auctioned to raise funds at the end of the conference. I'll sign it if you like. You know, what it will be is what it has always been. We cannot take anything for granted. You know as well as I that we have to fight for every seat in every constituency, everywhere in Britain. Only this year, this is going to matter as never before. The places you go, and the people you talk to, and the things you put on your leaflets and whack through the letterbox will matter as never before. We were all, in our different ways, pulled into this party, this family, for different reasons, but drawn by a common thread of liberalism. For me, it was the belief that people should be empowered citizens, not subjects of a patronizing state. For you, I don't know. Some of you joined to stand proudly against apartheid. Some because you wanted Britain at the center of what was then the audacious experiment of the European community and European unity. Some because we believed alone that the Chinese British citizens of Hong Kong should have British passports. Some for fairer votes. Some because you opposed Labour's ID cards. Some for a penny in the pound on education. Some to march against the war in Iraq. These campaigns mattered, and they matter still, because they tell you why you're a liberal and a liberal democrat. But this time, it's different in one crucial way. This time, we are not just fighting for a dream, but we are also fighting for a record. It was always my ambition to see our party move from fighting from the edges of British politics to bearing the risks and carrying the burdens of government, in order to bring the benefits of liberalism to the countries and to the people that we serve. And now, under Nick Clegg's remarkable leadership, we have done just that. We took up that burden, let us remember, at a time of existential crisis, to put right the poverty-creating, job-destroying, public service bankrupting economic mess that Labour left behind. And let me tell you, like Sal, I am incredibly proud as a Liberal Democrat. Incredibly proud, as you should be, of all the success that we have made of it. An £800 tax cut for more than 25 million workers. That's your work. A cut, by the way, which David Cameron said the country couldn't afford, which he now claims. Well, we fought for it in government, and in the process took 3 million of the poorest out of tax altogether. Let me tell you, this amounts to a bigger shift of taxes away from the poor and onto the rich than Labour has ever achieved. We have put an end. How proud should we be of this? We have put an end to child detention. We are handing out over £1,000 every year to every disadvantaged child for their education. And by the way, just for the record, so you noted, that's not 1p of income tax on education, it's 2p of income tax on education. We have provided free lunches for millions of school children. We have strangled, thank God, the Snoopers Charter. We have created 85% more apprenticeships than Labour and the fastest growing economy in the G7. Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is? Let me tell you. That is good government in action. That is liberal government in action. That is partnership government. as we have always believed and dreamed it could be, in action. And now, as Kirsty said, we can repeat at the national level. We can repeat at the national level that famous slogan, which won us so many victories locally. This is our record, and it is also our promise of more. You know, this has been the first coalition for more than 50 years, and the first time Liberals have been in power for more than 100. But the job is not yet finished. Under our plan, the deficit will be dealt with by 2017-18. Only then can the full fruits of a growing economy finally be deployed on rebuilding our country according to our dream. An opportunity society, free of class, free of discrimination, engaged in the wider world, not shrinking from it, where every person has the chance to fulfill their potential. This is, be aware of it. Be aware of it. No longer just a dream. This is not a never, never land. For now, we know how to get there. The Liberal Democrats are on track for success, but we are not there yet. Our task now is to steady the ship and ensure that we stick to the course. Mending the economy without breaking our society. That's what we Lib Dems are committed to. And let me tell you that is now at risk. That course, that success is now at risk. Labour and the Tories now want to abandon the course that has worked and veer off towards the rocks. Labour want to abandon economic responsibility and lurch back to what they do best, trying to solve a problem of too much borrowing by borrowing even more. The Tories want to abandon fairness and dump £30 billion further deficit reduction on the backs of the poor, and in a slash and burn cuts to our public services. The Tories seek to risk our social cohesion. Labour risks our economic recovery. Well, we won't let them. We will be the guarantee that this course that has delivered so much success over the last 4 years is the course Britain will stick to finish the job. But you know, there is perhaps even more at stake in the next few weeks than even that record, proud and remarkable though it is. We all know this is a survival election, but not just to maintain a powerful Liberal Democrat force in Parliament. Also for something which is perhaps even more important. Britain's politics is fracturing. Things spin outward. The centre may not hold. The tolerant, liberal Britain that is at once the quintessence of our national character and the very bedrock of our civilized society is now under threat as never before. Where there was a belief that we were better together, we now face ever more powerful voices which would break us apart, divide our society, break up our countries, smash our links with Europe, move us towards a broken nation which turns in to find enemies amongst ourselves, foreigners, immigrants, welfare scroungers, those of a different religion, fellow citizens we can use as scapegoats to blame for the challenges of a bewildering age. Mr. Farage now even thinks it's okay to put an end to laws which protect us from discrimination. Well, if ever we needed a reason to go out and fight, that is it. Let us be clear. In the coming campaign, we will not bend 1 centimetre, 1 millimetre to the voices of division from UKIP. Like Martin Luther, this is where we take our stand because we can do no other. We now stand and we will stand proudly and come what may as the uncompromising, unforgiving polar opposite of everything that UKIP stands for. Let's be clear as well. If we don't succeed, then the idea of politicians working together in the country's interests will be weakened. Our ability to restrain the Tories from blasting society apart with cuts which threaten the very fabric of our society will be weakened. Our capacity to restrain Labour from returning the country to the economic mess we have spent the last 4 years getting out of will be weakened. Our fight now is to preserve the principles of decency, tolerance, respect for others that are the true qualities of Britain and of being British. And if we do not succeed, then that great cause will be immeasurably weakened too. We've never had a prouder record to stand on. There has never been more to go out and fight for. So now, under our courageous and remarkable leader, Nick Clegg, I say to you all, go out there and give them hell.